you're rotating your head, you're rotating the neck, you're rotating your arms as well, and then lower them down. So then the other knee in there, put it into your chest, is spinal decompression. Decompressing the spine, mainly on the lower spine we'll be focusing on. And only a bit, it's not going to be focused too much on that, but that's just the theme for today. Don't really need any equipment. A ball might be handy if you want to get mine ready. That's more near the end, to be honest. If you've got a ball, and a block, he says, let me get me one block, would be handy. But not just for now. What we're going to start with is mobilizing the spine. So with the feet hip socket distance apart, and for this version, we'll have the feet in turnout. It's a little bit table on that lower back. And all we're going to do first and foremost is just rotate the spine around. So keeping the feet anchored to the ground, try and keep your pelvis still, just rotate the head, the neck, the heart, the belly button around to one side, slowly unwind, rotate it around the other side. So once it takes several seconds, you're just going to hold it around there for several seconds as well, so nothing too quick. And just focus on what we're trying to do. We literally just want to rotate the spine. We don't want to lean over, so just notice if this was your spine, it was a solid rock, solid part, this just wants to rotate. So I notice as I rotate to the right pelvis has gone back, so what I'm going to do is going to continue rotating the spine to the right, just going to send that pelvis forward. And do the same to the other side. So again, believe it or not, I'm actually trying to keep my pelvis still, but I'm atrocious at it. So I'm going to squeeze that pelvis forward as I continue rotating around. So just continuing that theme. And again, all we're trying to do is just rotate the spine. So keep the spine tall. Remember, the spine includes the neck, so there's a temptation to drop the head down, to drop the chin down. Make sure you're looking up. The neck is long and your chin is up. Focus on rotating the neck, the sternum, the heart, and your belly button around as you squeeze that pelvis forward, just to eliminate any backward movement that might be going on. You just don't want to feel anything in your knees with this one. Super, so that's a bit of rotation. Now we're going to go to spinal extension. So from the side, keep the feet in the same position. Now for this one, it's not a big dramatic move. I know sometimes we do the hands are on the bum, roll the shoulders back. Just slightly let the pelvis go forward. It's more about getting the heart now up to the ceiling. And then bring it back up. I'm not going to hold it for too long. Again, the pelvis goes forward slightly. It's more about getting the heart to look up to the ceiling. So it's a bit more pivoting from this sort of area in the spine. Pelvis forward slightly, heart up to the ceiling. Just hold it back for a few seconds and then bring it back up. Just continue doing that. Just while we're watching and have a look at what people are doing. So again, for today, there are different ways of doing any movements. For today, just send the pelvis forward slightly. It's about getting that heart up to the ceiling, just putting the spine into extension. That's all we're aiming to do. Like the one you're on, the last one. Keeping the feet in the same position, keeping the feet evenly weighted. We're going to do side bends now, so try and keep the pelvis level as you sink one shoulder down, but you're going to hold it there for about a count of 4, about. Focus on the opposite muscles as you bring yourself back up. Take it over to the other side, dropping directly down to the side. Hold it there for about a count of 4, opposite muscles, and just continue doing that. And again, just imagine and visualize what we're trying to do. Always at the aim of what we're trying to do. All we're trying to do, there's the spine. We just want to bend it in as many places as we can. So it's not just about getting the head and shoulders down. It's about trying to get the heart part of the spine, this part of the spine over to the side, and your belly button as well. So if that was a straight line there, the belly button still wants to try and move that part of the spine as well, but without moving the pelvis as a basic. And again, just alternate to the side. And the very good ones to do against the wall is, because if you are tight, your brain might make you want to drop the head forward, bend at the waist, or just roll the shoulder forward. Any combination of that if you're particularly tight in one part of the body. So again, keep the feet in turn. Now for this, it's a little bit tamer on that lower back. And again, you are holding it down there for a few seconds. Keeping the shoulders back and down, keep your head against that imaginary wall. Super, then bring yourself into upright, back to the start position. Put your feet in neutral for this when we're doing roll downs. So from the front, feet are facing the front in neutral. Stand tall. I'm not going to overthink this. Just keep a bend in the knees for this because I want to focus on the spine. Chin to chest, and just try and keep the head as close to the body as you can. You're trying to get your heart in between your knees. And just hold it down. Now, when you're down there, can you just hold each elbow with your hands? So the weight of it, a little bit, so your hands aren't on the floor supporting you. You want to decompress the spine so you can hold onto the elbows and then restack the spine from the bottom upwards. Trying to keep the arms close to the body. I want to keep mine in this position. You don't have to. And then there we go again. Keep it up from the side. Keep a bend in the knees, chin to chest, roll the head down the body. Trying to get my heart in between the knees. Let my arms hang there. Just let them dangle. Again, we're going to hold it for several seconds. Try to decompress the weight of the arms, the head, the upper back, decompressing that spine. Keep a bend in your knees for this because it's about the spine. Once you've held it down for several seconds, restack the spine. Just continue doing that. I just want to watch in on a few people. So again, for this version, keep a bend, keep a decent bend in your knees. Again, we do different versions, numerous versions. And when you're down there, don't let your hands rest on the floor. I would suggest hold each elbow with your hands and stay down there for several seconds. The idea of that being the weight of your head, the weight of your chest, the weight of your arms are helping to decompress, not in a massive way, but it will make a difference. Decompress that lower back and particularly your spine. And then bring it back up. Make the one you're on the last one. So the next one is, I call them kickbacks. I'll call them squeeze backs instead. This is it. I'm going to put my hands on my hips, roll shoulders back and down. With my right foot, with the leg as straight as I can, I'm going to flex the foot back. I'm going to send the leg with the straightest leg as I can directly back. So from the front, it looks like that. Directly back, not out to the side, directly back. Hold it for about 4 seconds, squeezing my bum as I do so. Bring it back, lay it down. Go over to the other leg, flex it back. Send it back with the straight leg. Squeeze it there for about 4 seconds. At least 4 seconds, you're squeezing your bum. But it wants to go, and carry on doing that. Don't do it for time. Away you go. Just be conscious that this doesn't happen, that you lean from one side. You're trying to keep the spine as upright as you can. There will be a slight shift over in weight to the other leg. So don't go too quick with this. That's what we want the spine to do. We just shift the weight. So there's none of this bend in the spine. Keep the spine bolt upright. From the side, you're trying to eliminate any leaning forward at all. It just wants to come from the hip. Squeeze the bum, squeeze the hamstrings, the leg as straight as you can. So from the side, I've got to watch myself because I've got a bad habit, especially on the other leg, of bending the leg. Keep the leg as straight as you can. Focus on squeezing the bum though. So from the other side, you've got another 20 seconds yet. But you're alternating, sorry. And bring yourself into neutral. Right, we're going to mix two now, which is that and the roll down. So from the side, hold it for 4, hold it for 4, big bend, do a roll down. Hold onto the elbows, hold it for about 4 seconds, or thereabouts. Wheel the spine back up, and you're doing the same. Now, you know your own body. Some people might go a bit dizzy back there, like heavy. You can do it near a wall, have your hand for support in case you feel that that's you. But having said that, if you do go dizzy, just stop and take yourself down. So again, to recap, squeeze back, hold it for 4. Go to the other leg, squeeze back, hold it for 4. Load the legs down, put a bend in the legs, and do a roll down. Hold on to the elbows, hold that for several seconds. Restack the spine. So make the one you're on now the last one. I'm going to squeeze back for 4. Squeeze back for 4. Bend in the knees, do a roll down. Roll back up. Super. So all I'm going to do now is going to lay down. It's quite passive one now. So all I'm going to do is get a block and we're going to lay down. Take ourselves to the ground. underneath the pelvis, underneath the bum. Straighten the legs away so the legs are straight and shoulder width apart. Put the arms over your head. So you can either hold onto each elbow if that's available to you. It's not for me today. You just have them over your arm, over the head, resting on the floor. So for now, I'm just going to hold that position. Just going to check in on people, make sure people are down. So if you haven't got a block, anything which elevates your pelvis up. Just check on some people. Good. Arms above your head. Assuming you've got no shoulder issues there. So there's still some people just getting down. Your legs are straight. Feet shoulder width apart. Arms over your head. So if you're touching the skirting boards, you get a bit more out of it. Now you can put them wherever it's comfortable. If you've got issues over my shoulder, I might have to put them like a W type position, maybe a U shape. Brilliant. So just hold it there for a bit. Someone's only just got down, that's fine. Now with the legs, just start to roll them, the feet, I should say. Pull them in and then roll them out. But this should be discomforting. It shouldn't just be like I'm doing it now. That's dead easy, not feeling anything. As you roll them in, nice and slow, you're trying to get my big toe to touch the floor in between. And then unwind, roll them out. So I'm trying to get your little toes to touch. And as you do so, you should feel, well, you may feel, so for here, I'm feeling this area, the outside part of my hips and bum, I can feel it in. When I roll the feet in, try and get the top, I feel it in my lower back, the center of my lower back. So as you're doing that, you're genuinely trying to get your toes, as you roll your feet out, you're trying to get your little toes to touch, listen to your bum, listen to where you're feeling it in your body, and as you roll the feet in. Super. What we're going to go on to now is leg slides. So you're just going to slide the leg in. That was a terrible slide, right? Hug it into your chest, and you're going to hold it there again for several seconds. Elbows are nice and wide. Assuming you haven't had hip replacement, you pull that knee into your chest as tight as you can. Hold it for several seconds before we release it, slide away and bring the other leg in. And again, elbows nice and wide. Use your biceps to pull that into your chest. The other leg wants to be straight. The straight leg wants to be as straight as you can. And just keep on alternating now, but don't do it quickly, in the sense that you're holding the knee in there for several seconds. Again, I'm going to do this for time rather than how many we do it. And each time, can you bring that knee to the chest? Can you try and straighten the other leg down? Let's work on hip, the knee mobility, hip mobility. If you've got knee issues, you might want to put your hands underneath the thighs, and that's easier for you. I get a better stretch actually, stretching off this part as well. Not that that part needs stretching off, upper hamstrings for most people. Working on hip mobility, mainly lower back, sacroiliac. And you're really using your arms to bring it in, you're using your shoulder strength and biceps. And come off the block. And all we're going to do then is just hug both knees into the chest. Again, whether you want to put the hands on the knees and shin or underneath is up to you, but keep the head down. I'm actually on the block for now, and just bring the knee into the chest. Now you're trying to lift your bum. I'm trying to tilt my pelvis back, and I feel a lovely stretch in that lower back. Just going to hold that. Then from that position there, still trying to keep the bum and pelvis tilted back, bring myself up, almost as if I'm trying to kiss my knees. I'm not actually going to kiss them though. So you're trying to have as minimal contact on the mat as you possibly can. Trying to tilt the pelvis back, bring the head between your knees. Super. And lower down. So we're going to go into hip rolls, side rolls now. I'm not going to play around with the foot position. About 6 different, there's loads of different foot positions you can have. Your feet are going to be hip socket distance apart. They're not going to be too close. They're not going to be too far away. They're going to be somewhere in between. So for me, it's about there. Super. My arms, because I want to get a bit more out of this, more bang from my butt, I'm going to have my arms over my head. I say on the floor, as if you're touching the skirting board behind you. Now keep the stomach pulled in. This is the hardest, well it is for me, the hardest part of this for me is keeping the stomach pulled in throughout the whole movement. I'm going to breathe in. Now on a breath out, I'm going to lift this pelvis up and send it over to my right. Left pelvis up, send it over to my right. Keeping both shoulder blades on the ground. I'm going to breathe in to prepare. Squeezing and focus on the stomach muscles. And the next breath out, I'm going to squeeze that up, focusing on the stomach muscles. So you're only moving on a breath out. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out. Go over to the other side. Oh, that's much tighter. Hold it for the full exhale. Breathe in to prepare. On the next exhale, focusing on the oblique muscles and the stomach muscles. I'm only going to visualize that these muscles attached to my knees and to them that are hoisting the knees up. It's not, but that's what I'm visualizing. And just keep on alternating sides now. Now use your own common sense. I've got a left shoulder issue, so it's worse some days than others. With your arms over your head, just have it in a position. Provide that over your head somewhere, putting some sort of extra stretch on the tissues, on the fascia. I've got to make adjustments for my left arm today, my left shoulder. It doesn't want to be painful. Just discomfort. So you're only hoisting, you're only moving on the breath out and focusing on the stomach as you do so. So the biggest one for this, you keep the shoulders down. So what arm position you have, you keep up across the shoulders, the shoulder blades on the floor throughout. Super. Bring yourself up to neutral and just bring yourself up to seated. Now for this next one, use a block. And sit on the block. Let's go from the hip for those that know it. Sit, or a version of that. Sit on the block, your legs are straight out in front, and I'm going to have the feet, but I'm not going to worry too much about the feet because I'm interested in the spine particularly today. So, but the legs are straight. Hands by the side by the hips. And again, either do this against the wall or imagine you are. In particular, the imagination part is more the shoulders, more so than the head, to be honest. But the head is against that imaginary wall, roll the shoulders back and down. Breathe in. On a breath out, slide your hands forward, as far forward as you can. You try and get your forehead down towards your shins for a full exhale. And then inhale, restack, but restack the shoulders as well as the head. And away you go. And again, I'm doing this for time, so away you go. Let me just check in on some people. So again, when you restack, get the shoulder, roll the shoulders back and down. Take the time to do that. It does add a certain something. That's the posture that we're after when we're after so-called good posture. It's those shoulders drawn back and down. It makes a hell of a difference in posture. I'm going to join in the front because I'm quite tight. So if you don't normally, I'd like to sit on a block for this. I noticed someone wasn't sitting on a block before, that's fine. But it takes a little bit more pressure and stress away from S1, L5. Bear in mind what the focus of today is, decompressing the spine. On your next one forward, hold it down there. So whether you can hold onto your toes, if not, can you hold onto your ankles or shins? And again, everything's pain-free, but not discomfort-free. Can you maybe just use your hands on your legs, on your feet, toes, just to pull yourself a little bit further down? So you feel some sort of distress, not pain, just distress. You're putting a stressor on the body, so the body's got something to adopt, adapt, and improve to. And then just restack. Now the next movement, hopefully it's similar, but we want to take the legs out of it as much as we can. I'm going to sit sort of butterfly. I can show you from the, still sat on the block. It's too hard to show you on this reform, but something like that. Just so your hamstrings are out of it. From this way, as best I can show you. So your legs can be apart, they haven't got to be together. Flat back, breathe in. As you breathe out, you're going to slide forward and drink your spine forward and hold it there for a full breath out. Breathe in and reach down. So I'll just show you from the side. My legs are quite far away from my bum. Breathe in, breathe out, drink the spine forward. Now still sat on your block and reach. I'm focusing more on reaching those hands away now, as well as getting my head down to the floor and reach that. Again, we're doing it for time, away you go. Just takes the legs out a bit more. Well, the hamstrings part of it anyway. And again, it's like a little competition with yourself. Can you skip down a little bit more, provided it's pain-free, and reach away with those arms? So it's not all about the head getting down there. The reaching away with the arms is an important part from a fascia, more from a fascia point of view. So really reach those fingertips away. And walk them out, walk them out, walk them out. And you're going forward and down on a breath out. On your next one forward, can you stay there? Stay there. Keep on, you're not there and then relaxing in that position. You're reaching away all the time. There wasn't a bit of stress there. Again, I'm doing this for time rather than. So again, can you reach a bit more? Those tissues given. Can you sink your head and heart down to the mat? And then nice and slowly, can we come back up, reach back the spine. So I'm going to rotate the spine in a different way. We did it with hip rolls before, side rolls. So you can sit on, again, you can sit on, I want to take the legs out of it. If you want to sit with your legs straight, that's fine, brilliant. But I want you to focus, want to be on the spine. If you want to sit butterfly, you can sit butterfly. As I've got the reformer, I'm actually going to sit this way because I actually prefer this one. I think it just gets it a bit more for me. So we want to be on the block. The principle is the spine that we're interested in. So you're sitting as tall as you can. You're sitting on your sit bones. That sounds obvious. But first and foremost, just as you're sitting there, whichever way you're sitting, and my advice would be on the block if you are going to be cross-legged or your legs stretched out. Is your sit bones evenly weighted? Well, just sat there, even me now, and I know I have for various reasons on my left side, I've got slightly, naturally, got more weight on my left hip sit bone. So I'm going to even that out so it's, the weight is evenly distributed. Put my arms across the chest. I'm going to take the arms out of this equation. I'm going to lengthen the spine up. So I'm pulling the belly in. Keep the heart lifted, long neck, chin up. Nice tall spine lifted through the crown of your head up to the ceiling. You might have a different breath pattern. I'm not fussed what your breath pattern is. This is my one. Just to control how long we're there. That's why I like breath for this one. I'm going to breathe in. I'm going to do it on the breath. I'm going to rotate around to one side. Focusing on my sit bones. They want to stay evenly weighted. I'm rotating my neck, I'm rotating the heart, I'm rotating the belly button around, keeping the pelvis as still as I can. Breathe into the center and breathe out to the other side. Same principle applies. Keep your waist long and tall on both sides. Don't collapse down. And just keep on alternating sides now. Trying to keep the pelvis still. And away you go. I'm just going to check in on someone again. I'm doing this for time. Make sure. And again, you want to be pushing the envelope. You want to be, can I take it that bit further? Rather than just saying your comfort zone, yeah, that's enough for me, that's all I'm doing, that's enough for me. So can you rotate it a bit more? If anything, focus on rotating that belly button around a bit more. Trying to keep the pelvis still. And bring yourself to neutral, come out of that one. There's a movement I want to revisit a bit now, and that is the 3-in-1 movement, mainly because it's fantastic for decompressing the spine. If you know what you're doing, crack on, but still listening. If you're not, you can watch and listen. So if you know what you're doing with the 3-in-1 movements, crack on. It starts off from a basic quadruped position. The knees underneath the hips, the hands underneath the shoulders. Nice long spine. Neutral spine, especially that lumbar back. I like to take my hands forward a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is basically sink my bum, try and keep my hands where they are, sink my bum to my heels. Now, if I need to move my hands in to make that happen, I'll move my hands in. And then try to get the head on the floor, but not at the expense of your bum coming off your heels. I'm reaching my arms away to work fascia and get a good stretch. I'm going to come back up to the quadruped, flat lower back. I'm going to go to the Swan type position, the Cobra type position. As I take my pelvis, the crown of the head moves first, but the spine is squeeze your bum, but the spine into extension, squeeze the bum and push the floor away. But the biggest focus is really squeeze that bum, and then bring it back. So you're mobilizing the spine between neutral. For most people, this child pose will be a slight forward flexion, decompressing that lower back, reaching the arms away as part of it. Back to neutral, back to extension when you're squeezing the bum. There you go, another half a minute, yeah? And just mobilize yourself between those three positions, those three movements. What I like to do, in this position, you breathe in to prepare. I like to breathe out to go into child pose. Full breath out. Breathe in, back to neutral. Breathe out into the Swan, the Cobra. Squeeze the bum, squeeze the bum. Breathe in. So you're always breathing out as you go down to the child pose. You breathe out. You take it to that Cobra, the Swan. And just lower down. So now we're going to go into, so we did hip rolls before, now we're going to do, I've called them torso rolls. So you want your block for this. So Jane, you might still want to, you'll still want a block under your head for this, possibly. So you might want 2 blocks. I say a block in your hand, doesn't have to be a block, it can be a ring, it can be a ball, it can be a cushion. The idea is, it's something just to control the hands and watch what the hands does. What the hands are doing, the arms are doing. So I'll show you the moves. Again, if you know what you're doing, crack on, but listen in. And if you don't, watch in. So we're in a similar position. The lower half is in the same position that we were in when we did hip rolls. Rule number 1 for this is you keep the lower half perfectly still, especially the pelvis. So my left pelvis, my right pelvis is the same weight on the ground. Heels with the hands on the block. I'm not going to cue breath for this. I'm going to rotate round to one side. The hands go, the block goes, the head, the spine goes. The neck part, the heart, the belly button rotate round, but my pelvis stays still. So keep the pelvis down, and then what you do with this top arm, you reach it away to try and overtake the bottom arm, but not at the expense of the bottom arm bending. That makes sense? And then reach back, rotate round to the other side. So 2 big things. You keep the pelvis, the opposite pelvis in particular, down, and you lengthen the top arm away, but not at the expense of bending the bottom arm. And away you go. Just checking on some people. Again, we're doing this for time rather than how many. So the skill with this one, again, just to nag you, the pelvis stays evenly weighted. So as you rotate, say, to the left, just make sure that right pelvis, in fact, deliberately push it down. Conversely, as you rotate to the right, push the left pelvis down. And then reach the top arm away. Once you've rotated, not worried about breath, I'm interested in the spine, just rotate that. Reach that top arm away, but not at the expense of moving the bottom one. Brilliant, good. Another half a minute of that, yeah? Have you got a more challenging side? But before you identify that, I want you to pay attention. So I'd like you just to come out of that and just sit up a minute, because this is relevant, especially when you're trying to identify a tighter side. When we do that, just imagine you've got this rod ran right up your bum and comes out the crown of your head. So it's impossible for your spine to do anything other than rotate. Because what there's a tendency to do for everyone, myself included, is to bend, especially your tighter side. My tighter side is there. And I'm going to try and exaggerate it from this position. Just be careful your spine doesn't do that. So the crown of your head and the center of my pubic bone, when I rotate, it wants to be in the same plane. So it doesn't, your head doesn't want to come, your shoulders don't want to move that way. Does that make sense? So if you imagine that rod, your spine can't bend at all. You literally just rotate it. The crown of your head, the center of your pubic bone want to be on the same plane. Doesn't want to be over there. So now with that in mind, I'm going to do another minute or so, lie back down and do the same move. It's what you've just done, but focus on that and now try and judge, have you got a tighter side? I'll just watch in on a few people. So away you go. So if you've identified the tighter side, just focus on that tighter side. So just reminds my left, mine as I rotate to the right. So if you haven't, just crack on. If you have, just focus on the more challenging side. Now I've noticed already I'm doing what I said not to do. My head went over. So away you go, just go to neutral and your more challenging side. So make sure your head, I've noticed it with myself, when I do bad form, it's my head that moves. I just want the head to rotate, the neck to rotate. Don't take it over to the side. And make that one the last one and bring yourself up to seated. And you want to sit on the block. And your legs want to be wider than mine are. They want to be wider than your shoulders. Almost if you're going to do the saw, but maybe not too wide. Most people have the legs too wide for that. So your legs are wider than your shoulders, quite a bit wider than your shoulders. Sit on the block. Not worried about the feet. If you want to work a little bit harder, you can flex those feet right the way back. Keep the legs as straight as you can. But for what I'm after today, I'm not too fussed. Fingertips in between the thighs, tall. Breathe in. On a breath out, slide, walk the hands out as far forward as you can. You're also trying to get your heart in between your knees. Finish breathing out and reach back. Again, not too worried about the hand. I'm interested in the spine. So if you want to have your feet a bit lax, that's fine. But do it on a block. Like the one you're on the last one, hold it down, hold it forward. So once you're down and forward, hold it there. Say hold it there. Once it's eased off, which it has to me, you're going to sink a bit further down. And hold that new position. Make sure you're not bouncing in the position, just hold it. And just see whether you can. You may not be able to. Can you sink down a bit further? And then restack the spine. Keep the legs in the same position. We're all going to do a version of saw now. So legs are wider than your shoulders. Upright as you can. Focus on the spine. The stomach is pulled in. The chest is lifted, long neck, chin up, put your arms across the chest. I'm going to breathe in as I rotate. As I breathe out, I'm going to flex forward over that right leg, focusing over this leg. Trying to get my forehead down to the knee, but keeping the opposite bum cheek down. So only as far forward as you keep the opposite bum cheek down. Breathe in, restack and rotate. And I'm not worried about breath. If you have a different breath pattern, do whatever you want to do with the breath pattern. Ideally, when you fold forward, it's trying to be on a breath out, keeping the opposite bum cheek down. So just alternate. Now, whenever we rotate the spine, it wants to be flat, wants to be tall as we rotate. So whenever you rotate them back, the spine wants to be tall and flat as you can, as neutral as you can. So again, imagine that wall. You flex forward, you restack the spine, your head and shoulders against the wall, rotate around. Now just note, how far forward can you go at the expense of your bum cheek coming off? There's one side, does your bum cheek want to lift off more? Assuming you're flexing as far forward, that is. Let me just check in on some people. Good. Very good. Have you got a tighter side, a more restrictive side? Because we are actually going to work to that now, if you've noticed it. And the biggest one is, assuming your flexion forward the same amount, which bum cheek wants to lift? So let's assume I can flex there. I know which side my tighter one is this as I go to the right. So just work to your tighter side. So for me, it's as I go over this leg. So I'm going to stay upright, just work to your tighter one. If you haven't noticed one, then carry on doing both. But focus on getting the bum cheek, the opposite sit bone, to weight down. So you're just going to work. You're still going to come back up in it. We're going to do the hold in a minute. Just work to your tighter side. Back to neutral. Back to your tighter side. Focus on keeping the opposite sit bone down. Now it's not trying to get your head to your knee, to your foot. It's trying to get your forehead down to the knee. Make that the last one and go to your 3-in-1 movement again. You might want to start in the trial pose. It's entirely up to you. Listen to your own body. But squeeze the bum as you take forward into that Swan Cobra. Once you've done that, watch in. So whatever position you're in to watch. We're going to go to a diamond press position. So the arms are going to form a diamond. You rest your head on your hands. You might want to rest on a cushion. It's entirely up to you. We're going to keep the top half out of this as much as we can. So relax the head, the arms, the chest, the shoulders, the upper back. Anchor the pubic bone down into the ground. Reach both legs away, so much so there's no more away, keeping your legs as straight as you can. So you're trying to reach the legs away behind you, so much so they come off the ground. The feet, knees and thighs come off. Keep your legs as straight as you can, lift up as high as you can. And then lower down. Anchor the pubic bone into the ground, breathe in to prepare. You're just raising them up for a full exhale. But you're trying to keep top off relaxed. And then lower down. Just check in on people. Again, we did this for time. Good. So the time starts now. Away you go. You might have already started. That's fine. But we're using breath to control it. So you're breathing in to prepare. You're reaching the legs away. So try not to bend in the knees. Want to really come from the bum, the hamstring. You're getting the posterior chain from mid-back, lower down. But you're trying to relax. The skill with this, the contrology part of this, is can you, as much as you can, relax your head, your arms, your shoulders. Now, because of what I'm after today, and you might want to just glance, some people find it easier to relax the top half by having their arms by the side, or maybe in a cactus position. But what I'm after today, I'm not fussed. Whichever version, arm position you want, providing you can relax the arms and the head and across the shoulders as much as you can. So it doesn't have to be the diamond press. You're going to put it in a cactus or by your side, it's fine. Biggest one is, are you anchoring your pubic bone into the ground? Are you reaching the legs away? So with straight legs, you're lifting up. So for me, it feels less stressful, arms down by the side. Hold it up for a full exhale. Lower down and inhale. Let me just check in, see how people are getting on with that version. Good. So again, you're trying to lift the thighs, you're trying to lift the knees up, trying to lift the thighs off the ground, but as much as you can, you're trying to relax and switch off and control the top part. You will feel this in the lower back as you're working those muscles, the muscles called multifidus, as well as your rectus spinal group, but try not to tense up in the head, neck, chest, arms, shoulders. We are going to revisit that. However, lower down and take yourself to the 3-in-1 movements. You possibly want to start in the child pose, it'll probably come natural. Now you can do whatever speed you want to do. Listen to, I'm a great believer in intuition training. How do you feel you want to do today? Do you want to hold the positions for longer? As in the 3-in-1 movements I'm on about? Or do you prefer moving a little bit quicker? You're well warmed up now, that's fine. Providing, especially if you're going more dynamic, when you're in the Swan, you've got to squeeze that bum to keep the lower back safe. Squeeze the bum as much as you can. So for me today, I'm not going to hold the swan position for very long, but I want to hold the child pose for a bit longer. There's absolutely no right or wrong. Sure, we're going to do a variation on the theme now, so you might want to watch, and you've all done this one before. Put my arms in a down press position or a double stomach position. Relax the top half again, bend the knees. I'm going to have the knees apart, feet touching. Super. Well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to breathe in to prepare. As I breathe out, I'm just going to lift my left leg. Just going to let the movement just wants to come from the hip. I'm going to lift it up as high as I possibly can. That the foot up to the sinner's house again for an exhale, and then lower down. Then I'm going to do the right leg. And then I'm going to do both legs together. And I'm going to keep on doing that. One leg, the other leg, both legs. There's a but. You keep the top half relaxed. And what we're trying to avoid, the biggest thing to focus on, is that the pelvis, when you're doing it, isn't rocking from side to side. There will be some forward and backward movement, some, not much, but it definitely doesn't want to rock from side to side. So, away you go. I'll talk you through again. If you crack, if you know what you're doing, get crack on, fine. But if not, again, some people might want to block with a cushion for the head, the arms in the down press, relax the head, the arms, the shoulders, the upper back. The knees, have my knees quite wide, my feet together. Bend the knees, soles of the feet up to the seat. Breathe in. On a breath out, I'm going to lift one leg up as high up as I can without rolling the pelvis. I noticed I did then. And then inhale down. Exhale the other side. Inhale down. Exhale both together. Lower down. Another 20 seconds, yeah. Just checking on some people. So the knees stay bent. You send one leg up. Remember, as you send that leg up, you don't rotate to the other side. Keep the pelvis flat, keep it down. Then you do the other leg, and then you do both legs together. And now we are going to revisit that. So we got time, yes. So bring yourself down, take yourself back to the 3-in-1 movement. Again, great believer in intuition. What your body telling you to do. In relation to the 3-in-1 movements, you feel like holding the child pose for longer, hold it for a little bit longer. And now lastly, for the front line stuff, maybe, lower yourself back down. All we're going to do now is the both legs together. So you're going to get in the same position, relax the top off as much as you can, the knees are bent, the knees are apart, feet together. Breathing in to prepare, push the pubic bone down into the ground, keep it anchored to the ground. As you breathe out, lift both legs up as high as you can, but without relaxing the top off. Relax it, relax it, relax it. Hold it for a full exhale, and then lower down. And I keep on doing that. You got a minute of them. Away you go. Just going to check in on people. So, anchor the pubic bone into the ground and then lift up. Hold it up there for a full exhale. Trying to relax the arms, the head, the neck, the chest. Now try it with your knees much closer together. If not, your knees touching. Do it nice and slowly, however. It may take you by surprise. Again, let's just check in. You may feel this in the center of your lower back a bit more. It depends on where you're tight. I'll be honest with you. It depends on what muscles are strong, what muscles are weak, where you're tight, which muscles are short, which muscles are long. But for most people, it's usually a bit more intense. And lower yourself down. I'd suggest starting in a child pose and then move to the 3-in-1 movement. It's about mobilizing that. Super. And then come out of that, bring yourself to the front of the mat. We're going to go into a roll back like a ball position. Keep the feet down, put your heels as close to your bum as you can, the thighs as close to the bum as you can, and you're basically just going to give yourself a big hug. So got one hand low down, pulling the shins in, one high up, keeping the knees together because it's more problematic for me, and then can you get your forehead down to your knees as best you can, as much as your thighs, belly, boobs, and flexibility will allow. I'm going to do this way so you can watch the clock. We're literally just going to hold this position away you go. So can you get the knees to touch? Can you get the knees together? Again, it's going to be a bit more problematic for some more than others. You might find tissues give a little bit, and you might find you can get a bit tighter. Again, for some people, they'll be restricted more by the size of the body, so some people may not get as much out of this as others. And just bring yourself out of that one. Come to sideline now. The main reason I'm doing this is for the spine, the lateral flexion it provides for the spine. I'm going to lie on this side. I've only got two sides, it shouldn't get too complicated. But I'm going to be in one line. So my heels, the back of my legs, I'm all in one line. I'm using the back of the reformer as a, my elbow, my head, my bum, my feet are all in one line. The hips are stacked. So if I pass the rod through this hip, it should go through the other hip. Super. This hand can be here for balance. I'm going to use it for balance. The elbow is just outside of the shoulder, but this is the most important part. You push that away and you keep it throughout. Pushed away. There's a temptation when we start focusing on the feet and the legs to start doing this and the top off to lower down and to pike forward. So again, you use the back. I'm going to use the back of the reformer as a guide for myself. Push the floor away. This hand can be there, can be there, can be there. For what I'm after, because I don't want balance to interfere in what I'm doing. I'm going to put it there. So hopefully you're all there now. You're just going to lift the top leg so it's in line with the hip. And then all you're going to do is lift it up nice and slowly, as high up as you can. Keep it up there for several seconds and then slowly lower down. Away you go. But you're already lowering it down to the start position. And carry on. We're doing it for a minute. I'm counting now. So hold it up there for the count of for several seconds before you lower down. Pause. Now everything is slow. It goes up slow. You hold it up there. It lowers down slow. But you're always pushing that floor away. So just make sure that your head hasn't gone forward. The back of the head stays in line with your spine, with the back of the shoulder. And it's slow movements, as slow as you can. Push that forward, drop down your shoulder. Keep that foot, the foot that you're lifting stays facing the front. There'll be a tendency possibly for your brain to make it point up to the ceiling, make it easier. Keep it pointed to the front. And lower the leg down. We'll do the same. Onto the other side now. So, don't start just yet, because we all do it for time, otherwise you'll be up there for about 2 minutes. Just make sure everyone's. So you're on the side, let me just check people. So you're on the other side, exactly the same principle. Let me just check, because some people take longer than others to get in the position. Oh, good. Super. So you're on the other side, joining the fun. This is my west side. Push the floor away, your spine is in alignment, the hips are stacked. Lift that top leg, push that floor away, pull, and away you go. Ooh. I've got so much less range of motion in this side. So I'm going to take all momentum away, lift it up as high as you possibly can without. I'm just rolling my pelvis forward and notice. Keep the pelvis stacked, push that floor away, slowly lower down. So again, you want distance between the ear and the shoulder, so make sure you push that and engage it. You're also stretching off muscles there in the neck as well by doing that. So again, you're taking all momentum, shouldn't be anything fast about this. And lower down. Super. Do whatever your body wants you to do. We are going to be moving into spine curls now. Throw my block. We're going to use a block underneath the feet. And we're going to have the heels as close to the bum as we can. And your feet as wide as that block will allow. I'm assuming people haven't got a big massive block. Let me just check in on people. Super. Right, okay, so the heels are close to the bum, but as wide as the block will allow. Keep the arms on the floor. Tilt the pelvis back, spine curl up, the pelvis goes up level. But for this one, really squeeze the bum and lift your bum up as high to the ceiling as you can. And then all you do then is lower the spine back down, put the lower back down before you bum. In fact, you're trying to keep the bum lifted as high up as you can till the last possible moment, and then put that big arch in your back again. And you just keep on repeating. Squeeze the bum, send the pivot bum high up to the ceiling. I'm just watching on a few people. Good, keeping the pelvis level throughout. Good. So the idea of being on the block is so you get a greater range of motion in the spine, in the hips as well, hip opens, hip flexors. On your next one, hold it up there and stay up there. Without putting any extra weight in your head or neck, can you lift the bum up higher and higher? Squeeze your bum, squeeze your bum, squeeze your bum. Lift it up as high as you possibly can without putting any weight, extra weight in your head and neck. And then slowly put the spine back down. Oof. And then sit yourselves up. And then stand yourselves up. So again, especially if you feel lightheaded, just take yourself back down again. So, just check everyone's up. You want the block in your hand. Probably got a glance at what I just did there. Super. Well done, Jane. So, similar to what we did lying down, but we're standing up. Yeah, we keep the feet in neutral for this one. So we want to try and control the pelvis. So the lower half wants to be as still as we possibly can. This is about, so the arms are parallel to the floor, roughly parallel to the floor. But you can see from the side, don't have the shoulders up there, send the shoulder blades down the back. Super. Just going to rotate the spine, keeping the pelvis still, rotate the spine. So you're rotating your head, you're rotating the neck, you're rotating your arms as well. Rotate your belly button, but don't allow the pelvis to move. And then this arm, I'll call it the top arm, this arm, you reach away. Keeping the other arm straight, don't start bending that one. Keep it straight and then send that arm away. Hold it there for several seconds. Rotate to neutral. So the stomach is pulled in, the spine is tall. Keep the pelvis as still as you can as you rotate, the head, the neck. The whole top half as a unit rotates around to one side. So I know my pelvis has moved, this pelvis, so I'm going to squeeze it forward. Now this arm, and then I'm going to reach it away to try and make it overtake, be the same length as the other one. Hold it for several seconds. And then rotate around. This really fires up your obliques as well now, the ease muscles here. And away you go, carry on doing that. The skill is the top half, not the pelvis, the top half rotates. My pelvis has moved, so I'm going to squeeze that pelvis forward. This arm, the so-called top arm, reaches away. Hold it there for several seconds. Boy, does that fire your stomach muscles up. But it only fires them up if you keep the other arm straight. So when you're reaching the other arm away, don't bend the opposite one. So I'm going to rotate around to this side. Push that pelvis forward. This arm, reach it forward without bending the other one. Hold it there for several seconds. I can feel the obliques fire up. One more either side. I'm not worried about breath, just breathe. Just don't hold the breath. There's a temptation to hold the breath with this one. Do one more to this side. Bring it back around. Oof, and lower down. I feel like my elbows actually, my arms. So we're going to do a version of, we're going to do sway and palm now. It's called sway and palm. Can you see there? No, let's have to get back to you. Yeah, there you go. Feet neutral, feet facing the front. Hands on the block. Reach the arms up. Assure you've got no shoulder issues. You're not trying to have the block above your head. I've got a shoulder issue, so it's going to come forward slightly. Super. Keeping the, again, it's the top half that we want to move. The lower half, the pelvis downwards, doesn't want to budge. As we sway over to one side, I've just noticed the bend forward. So again, imagine you're against the wall. As you take it over, your head and shoulders stay against the wall. This top arm, reach it away. Hold it there for several seconds without bending. I noticed the bend that one. Bring it back up. So both arms stay straight. You sway over to the other side now without coming forward. The top arm, reach without bending the other one, reach the top arm away, hold it there for several seconds, and bring it back up. I'll do one more each side. Just the top half, the pelvis stays down, this foot stays weighted down, reach the top arm away, hold it for several seconds, bring it back up, take it over to the other side, reach it away, this one straight. Hold it for several seconds. Bring it back up. Oh, give the arms a rest and nothing else. Ooh, nearly done. I actually meant to do this at the beginning, I forgot because I didn't write it down. Which is, from the side, it's just this one. Just going to bring one knee up, hug it into your chest, and then lower it down. And bring the other knee in, hug it into your chest, and then lower down. From the front, it's like this. If balance is an issue, do it there, something stable. More about what happens in the hip and in the lower back as well. So what we're trying to avoid with this, it's like the ones we do lying down, hey, balance for the kickoff, is you're trying not to do this. The spine stays, as you stick bolt upright, as you bring the knee in. As you bring the knee in. Really balances a bit. Do a couple more. If you haven't had hip replacement, you bring that knee nice and high. If you have had hip replacement, just keep it to about there. Lower down, we'll finish on the roll down from the side. Keep a bend in the knees for this one, chin to chest, wheel it down, but hold it there. Can you hold on to each elbow? Nice bend in your knees, just hold it there. So from the front to side, maybe just have a sway from side to side, folding backward.
And then from the bottom upwards, we reset the spine.
Ooh, bring ourselves into standing, and I hope you got some benefit out of that. And give yourself a little round of applause. Well done, everyone. I enjoyed it.